I met Lydia and Tracy and Linda from GoPhil about 4 years back when I was working for Tara, which is one of GoPhil's oldest, longest term partners. I was working as project manager for Tara Boys, and Lydia and Tracy were coming at that point once or twice a year to do a lot of organisational development support and capacity building support with the organisation. So that was how I met them and got to know them. I've worked for NGOs and for the UN for about 15 years before joining GoPhil. I worked mostly on child protection and child rights issues. So my role with GoPhil is very varied, and that's one of the things I really like about the role. Every day is different. I do a lot of work with our existing partners here in Delhi. So I do a lot of organisational development support, capacity building support, encouraging cross-learning and networking across our partners. I also report back to our donors. So we look at the grants that we're giving the partners here. I look at what the organisations are doing with the money and the impact that money the grant is making on their work, and provide regular reporting to our donors, which is one of GoPhil's key strengths. I'm currently doing a mapping of India. There's a huge number of issues and problems in India, and also around 3.1 million NGOs here. So I've been trying to look at what are the major issues that GoPhil should be working on in India, and which are the organisations that we should be working with and partnering with here. So we've been looking specifically mostly at women's rights and women's empowerment, and also child protection. And within that, we've been looking a lot at child marriage and looking at trafficking. So we get to know an organisation very well before we start working with them. So for example, we've just started working on child marriage in Rajasthan. To do this, I did a lot of preliminary research on the internet on child marriage. We identified Rajasthan as a key state for this. It has a very large number, around 60% of girls married off before the age of 18. We looked at a big international organisation called Girls Not Brides to see who their partners were in Rajasthan. I went through websites, I had Skype calls with organisations, and then eventually, after this long process, which took several months, I went to Rajasthan and spent 5 days there meeting organisations, but not just meeting them in their office, also going out with them to some of the villages, to the areas where they're working, meeting the communities, seeing how they interact with the communities, and really understanding in a lot of detail how they work. So this is the kind of detail we would look into before we would decide to become partners with someone. I think everyone can make a difference, and I think everyone should. And one of the things that I get asked all the time by people visiting India is, how do I deal with seeing poverty every day? And I find it really difficult to answer, because the poverty is there, whether you live here or whether you live in an area where there's no or very little poverty. The poverty exists. It's just because you're not seeing it every day doesn't mean that it's not there. And so I think everybody has an obligation to do their bit to make the world a better place. And I think everybody can as well. Everyone has different skills and different experience and different qualities that they can use to at least, make somebody's life a little bit better.